What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Brian Reacts to Form. Without further ado, I am going to get to the paragon of form. Living perfection, Simon Lizotte. Here we are with Simon. Simon is lining up a shot here. So the first thing I notice right here, if you look carefully, where are Simon's eyes? He's looking downrange. And all of his intention in his biomechanics are wound up towards throwing the disc downrange. There's no thought whatsoever to footwork, to foot placement, to where he's going to land on his back foot, to the pesky back foot, to where he's going to brace with his off arm. There is nobody in the world who has better biomechanics than Simon. And he has so much confidence in his balance and in his sequence that he doesn't need to think about anything but aiming. So you can see his eyes looking downrange here. The disc is down by his left hip. And I've talked about this recently in some of the videos that I've done about when you're doing the bat drill, you can almost feel like you're drawing a sword. Where is your hand in relation to the hilt of a sword if you were to reach across your body and draw a sword from its sheath? Where you hold a golf disc actually is kind of similar to that. You can see that Simon has it very low down in his body. This allows him to walk sideways towards his target, almost like he's getting ready to draw a sword. It's pretty much the same biomechanics. And you can see him push hard off of his back foot here, off the left foot. So you can see Simon deliberately moving completely sideways. Everything in his mechanics is oriented to throw the disc this way. Although I guess the line would be something like this. And you can see how his eyes, his neck, his spine, his front right hip, everything is all in line in support of a brace point right about here is where his foot is going to come down, winding up his body in anticipation of that upcoming brace. I remember when I watched Simon's form for the very first time, and what he did with the disc was incomprehensible to me. I could not believe how fast and far he could throw a disc. The only thing you could hear when Simon threw a disc was the roar, like jet exhaust, of it flying away from you at 75 miles an hour. It was whisper, silky, silent out of his fingers though. No pop, no snap, nothing. So I started studying Simon's form. Simon overstrides with his back foot objectively. Look at this. Look how far behind his body this back foot is going, and compare that to someone like Paul McBeth. Paul McBeth, his foot comes right through his core. He's right over it the whole time. He almost skips onto it. Simon doesn't do that. He steps way through his body in a way that would be catastrophically sabotaging for most players. As soon as most people stride like this, their entire torso goes in this direction, tipping their torso way outside their center of mass. And the consequence of that, of course, is now they're woefully off balance. So they're going to start counterweighting in different spots, and they have to lug the entire weight of their torso forward to throw the disc. It's sabotaging beyond belief. But in Simon's unique mechanics, his hyper-specialized, efficient mechanics, this overstride allows him to glide sideways effortlessly, all of his weight dynamically pressed into the pesky back foot. He's in perfect balance, and also leveraging off the foot the instant his toe starts to touch down. And you can see, if you could look at Simon's weight right now, in one instant here, in one instant, right there, he's shifted his weight already. He's already fully weighted on that back ball of his foot. And his right foot is still in contact with the ground, but is probably bearing maybe 2 to 3% of his body weight. He's already dynamically pressed into the ball of his foot. This gives him crazy amounts of lateral force off that back foot. So effortless and glidey as he strides forward in perfect balance on this back foot. He's still behind it, but he's dynamically pressed into this foot. It's the idea that when a skater or a skier stops on ice, they press into the ground, and even though their body's at a strange angle, the friction created into the ground keeps them essentially upright. Simon's doing exactly the same thing right now on his pesky back foot, which is definitely not pesky at all. It's extremely additive, building energy through his body. Now he's beginning to coil his shoulders back, loading his shoulders back in anticipation of this right foot striking the ground. And one of the things that's really interesting about Simon, if you watch his upper body extend, he's already stopped just about extending the disc. I guess the disc is right here. I'm going to wait for it to stop moving. Okay, right there is where his disc has stopped moving. And notice the arm angle here. If you're extending your arm into the backswing, it is easier to do that with external rotation, with the bicep and the elbow, with the bicep up and the elbow down. In this stretch position, you can really extend the muscles of the core and get deep into that stretch. But the thing is that as soon as you begin to pull on the disc, this position is extremely weak for pulling. It's good for extending, but not for pulling. So you have to do something as you begin to pull on the disc. You need to go internally rotated, pronating the wrist in, coiling it in, and pulling on the disc this way, like you're doing a cable row in a gym with your elbow up. Watch Simon's arm right here as he begins to pull on the disc. This is something that I did not understand at all. I didn't have any real idea of the gravity, the importance of this, until I started paying close attention to a bunch of the different backhand coaches in the ecosystem. I've been on the Disc Golf Discord for multiple months now, talking with a bunch of other instructors. Pay attention to where his elbow moves. The elbow is definitely upside down right now with his palm pointing at the sky. But as soon as he starts to truly pull on the disc, you're going to see a huge change in alignment relative to the throwing angle. Suddenly the disc is being pulled on edge. He's external, and then suddenly he's pulling like this. You can see how the blade of the disc goes downward, with the bottom of it facing this way and the top facing this way. He's internally rotated his arm to pull stronger on the disc all the way through. And the consequence of this is that the biomechanical advantage that Simon has on the disc while he's pulling on it is amplified. Your arm is so much stronger pulling this way than pulling this way or pulling this way. That allows you to keep everything in sync. First of all, it allows you to pull the disc straight into what is known as the power pocket, this leverage position where you can just send energy down your arm into it. And it holds that structure all the way out to as the torso rotates, and then almost pushes the disc away to accelerate it. So he pulls the disc in aggressively. Another thing extremely important is happening at the same time, and I'm going to point to Simon's off arm, which was out here a second ago. Simon's off arm is now down in front of his body. It's compressed against his core. This has nothing to do with it aiding rotation. It's doing the opposite of that actually right now. For years and years and years, there's been a mythology in this sport that the left arm comes in to aid rotation, to spin the torso faster. That is actually untrue. It's the opposite. The left arm is a stabilizing point in the mechanics. You bring it in to stop this shoulder. As soon as you stop the shoulder, and you see that happening right here with Simon, watch the stability of his left arm. As soon as the left arm stabilizes, his right arm takes off. It amplifies the speed of the throwing arm because suddenly the lever, the entire lever of the body that's throwing the disc, starts back here. It stabilizes here, the arm takes off like a rocket. As long as the arm is under leverage and in a strong position to exert force on the disc accelerates to ballistic speeds. I have no idea how fast this throw is, but I imagine Simon is ripping the disc in the low 70s here. You can see how the left arm is completely stabilized. This left shoulder barely moves at the contact point. It's completely frozen in order to accelerate the arm and the entire lever of the shoulder girdle. You can see his arm hitting the disc right at full extension. That's where it's popping out. And another thing too, notice how smooth this is as the disc goes away. This is at 4,000 frames per second. The disc is almost indiscernibly wobbling. It barely moves. And having witnessed this up close many, many times, I assure you, the release is whisper quiet. There's no snap at all. It's just a rocket that roars away into the distance. You can see how Simon is continuing to anchor his body with his left arm. He's completely stationary as the shoulder continues on ahead of him. It'll go almost all the way around while he just pivots onto the outstep of his right foot. The arm just continuing totally relaxed and flowing, all of the energy dispersed into the disc. No torque on the knee, no torque on the hip, everything just relaxed and smooth and balanced, pivoting on that right heel, watching the disc rip off into the distance. It truly is a thing of balletic beauty, a paragon of efficiency and perfect biomechanics. So there you have it, perfection personified in the form of Simon Lizotte. For most of the time that I've reviewed disc golf form, I have never honestly felt worthy of being able to critique this guy's mechanics. They're just too perfect. But I hope I have done his form justice today. I hope you guys like this content. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done that. Leave comments. I read and reply to everything, and I'll see you guys for the next one.